Okay, guys, it's time for the volley with Matt and Mags. We're going to bring you all the highlights from episode 7 from Matchday 7.
Episode 7, week 6.
So, this is the time we hit the intro, I think. We're working on a proper intro, of course, but we're not quite there yet, I don't think.
I was half expecting the Benny Hill style music of a chain wrestling to kick in then.
Next time maybe I will do that sort of thing. You never know, it's all good. So yeah, this is the volley week. This is the second time we've done the volley, Mags. Just you and me this week, but that's all good. So we're going to try and rattle through things quite quickly. That's what the whole thing's about. So shall we get Bill rolling to do it? Let's have a look.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the first game of the weekend, which was of course a game which I wanted to lose with. Let's face it. Manchester United 1, Everton 1. Okay, so we're going to start with this one, Max. Start with pick the tail.
I think we should start with the second goal, the equaliser, because that's the biggest talking point for me. That celebration from Andros Townsend. It was glorious to watch.
It was.
As a neutral, not really having much of a dog in the fight with either of these teams, to see him kind of rib the fans with the Cristiano Ronaldo celebration, the boom. It was so funny to see. But before that, the whole build up to the goal was such great flowing football. You had Damari Gray bombing down the wing. He gets tackled, but wins the ball back, takes out two players with his ball to Decore. Decore is like a tank. He essentially fends off two more defenders. Plays a beautiful weighted ball to Townsend, and Townsend is able to slot it past De Gea for a glorious finish to pull the game level after Martial's opener. It was well deserved by Everton. I think in terms of stats, they were pretty level away down the mark. I mean, for Everton, they only had 28% possession, but they had 12 shots, where Man United had 72% possession and only had 13 shots. So they certainly gave Man United a really good game and were well deserving a point. And even at the end, could have potentially won it with Yerry Mina scoring late on. But unfortunately, Tom Davies had passed to him when he was just offside, which was a shame. But a well earned point for Rafa Benitez. I think he's really kind of ingratiated himself with the team.
The thing which annoyed me so much about the Townsend goal was at no point did De Gea try to save it.
Yeah, I think the football was so flowing that Man United were essentially caught off guard. I mean, you see Damari Gray and Decore flying forward, and you think that those four defenders should be able to cope with those two. And they were all played out of the game, and De Gea was caught flat-footed, essentially.
He was, to be fair. I have to give special mention before we go any further. Every team who played on Saturday, I've got to give you your props, because the torrential rain you were playing in, those conditions were unplayable at times, it felt like. And watching that, we got some amazing football still out of it. So, I'm glad to see it wasn't too bad. It got some good results. Martial, who, great opener, by the way, he scored it. Literally a few minutes before that, I was saying to Chris, watching the highlights, I'm like, Martial's having a really bad season. And then he goes and puts the worldie in.
Well, it's his first goal of the season, a first goal, I think, since February. there is a couple of players from this game week that really needed a goal, and he was certainly one of them. And you could see once he scored how much it meant to him to finally get back on the score sheet. He's had a torrid time in front of goal. Essentially, he couldn't hit the side of a barn with a banjo. He's been that poor. But the finish was, yeah, like I said, it was a world. It was a great finish.
It was, and this is a man who we were saying when Ronaldo signed back to Man United, will Martial be moved on to someone like a Tottenham or something? And he's getting some game time now, and he scored Ronaldo didn't. Ronaldo didn't score. Sancho didn't score. He did. So good for Martial. He said through gritted teeth. So yeah, Man United. I definitely think that Man United can call themselves lucky. He was slightly lucky to get away with a point, because if he had just hit a shot rather than crossing it, Everton could have come away with all 3 points, and that would have hurt Ole's team, I feel.
Yeah, and especially with that Yerry Mina goal, if that would have countered, that would have broken Manchester United hearts, and yeah, it would have been 2 losses on the bounce then.
I'm trying not to smile at that comment, Max. I'm trying to be impartial, but no one's buying that for a minute, so I'm going to move on. And we're going to move on to the next game, which onto the 3 o'clock kickoffs that day. And let's start with the first one, Max, unfortunately, which is Burnley 0, Norwich City 0. Talk us through it, buddy. Talk us through the pain here.
Yeah, Chris, our roving reporter, executive producer, president, he on
Chief
his
superintendent, yeah,
on his Claret's report account said that this is time now to press the panic button for Burnley. And whilst I can understand his viewpoint there, I mean, drawing with Norwich, essentially giving them their first point of the season, it's bad on paper, but I think there's a lot of positives that we can take out this game. I think Dwight McNeil looked lively. I think we were desperately screwed over by the referee. At least 2 stonewall penalties, but we didn't make it easy for ourselves. Timo Pukki was a nightmare for Tarkovsky to keep under control. But we should have won this game. It's as simple and clear as that. And Norwich are the league's whipping boys, and we should have picked up our first victory here. But every single point is one more point than we've had before. I just think it shows how much we miss Cornet, and how quick and much of an impact he's made so soon in the club that we couldn't get off the score sheet without him on the pitch. Yeah, I'm disappointed in the result, but I'm pleased with the way that we attacked, and we created quite a lot of good chances, and we actually even controlled the possession for the majority of the game. So there's certainly positives out of the game, even if the result wasn't exactly what we deserved.
Indeed. Obviously, Nick Pope wrote a really good say at one point to keep it at 0-0 as well. So important thing, of course, is keeping the clean sheets right now, especially at the bottom of the table. You need the clean sheets.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you should draw every game, but if you drew every game, you'd stay up.
Well, yeah, essentially you'd be on 38 points. But we do need some wins. We need to break that duck and get
coming.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think once one win comes, we'll soon start rattling them off over and over again. But Burnley do like to make things difficult for themselves.
Well, your word's not mine on that one, Max, unfortunately. I say Dwight McNeil, I don't know how he missed that chance.
Yeah, he's so one-footed. It's unreal. He really needs to learn how to play with his left foot, because he had so much time with that late cross. He could have buried that if he had any decent left foot on him.
Indeed. Indeed. So we won't torture anymore, Mags. Although I will say that Timo Pukki get reasonably quiet, although Tarkowski definitely deserved the yellow card he got for the foul.
I mean, it could have been a red. It could have easily been a red.
Yeah, we'll speak about red cards, Mags, for the next game, which of course is Chelsea 3, Southampton 1. I was quite impressed with the savageness of Chelsea in this game. They smelt blood and went for it. I was so pleased for Chalobah getting his second goal. A really good diving header at the back post, and
brave header to take that. It was a great performance by Chelsea. I think going for Southampton to be going level, I thought that flattered them. I thought that Southampton were dominated in this game, and the stats certainly agree with that. 62% possession for Chelsea, 20 shots to 6 of Southampton's, 9 on target. So Southampton were being fired at from everywhere. And I mentioned about Martial needing a goal and really need to kick his season off. Timo Werner is in exactly the same position, and he thought that he'd broken his duck early on in the game but the goal ended up being ruled out due to, I think it was a foul by Chilwell in the build-up.
Azpilicueta.
Sorry, yeah, that's it, Azpilicueta. But he eventually did get his the goal that he needed.
Ironically, from a cross from Azpilicueta, ironically.
Yeah.
One-touch football, brilliant.
But this was all after Ward-Prowse, who scored the penalty to level the game. That was definitely given by Ben Chilwell. He then got sent off for a tackle. I think the tackle was on. Was it on Chilwell, the tackle?
I believe it was on. Yeah, I think it might have been on Jorginho.
Yes, it was. It was on Jorginho. I think it can be. I think it's harsh to get the red card. Whilst he did go in studs up, I didn't think it was malicious. He didn't certainly go in to injure the player. But the referee essentially gave him a booking at first, and then reviewed it and upped it from a booking to a straight red card, which. Yeah, is not good for Southampton in the position that they're in to lose their talisman. And after that, Chelsea got the win that they deserved. And Ben Chilwell, who was involved in pretty much everything, ended up getting a goal as well to really kind of rub salt in Southampton's wounds.
We had an amazing sequence of events leading to Chilwell's goal. It was like something out of FIFA. You know, that thing where you take shot after shot. Keeper say that hits the post, hits the bar, hits the post sort of thing. Then it's literally saved on the line sort of thing. Of course,
and it's not the only time that actually happened this weekend.
We'll get to that, of course. Later on, yeah.
We'll get to that later on. But yeah, it was bars and posts and great saves all around. But yeah, the final shot by Chilwell did cross the line. The goal line technology showed that it was clearly over, and well spotted by the referee because we have seen times where those things haven't gone the way they should have. I mean, there was the infamous England game where Lampard scored and it was clearly in and it didn't count. And then there was the one against Man United, and I think it was Roy Carroll essentially pulled the ball out of the goal, and they played on. So
Pedro Mendes.
Yeah. So it's good that this technology clocks that these are goals straight away, and Ben Chilwell got another worldie, a great finish.
Absolutely, he went for it and got the job done for sure. Southampton, of course, because it was upgraded to a straight red, of course, can appeal this, of course. Mm-hmm. So I'll be honest though, I'll be surprised if they overturn it because the law says he has to go for that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it. I totally understand the reasoning to upgrade it, but I just think knowing James Ward-Prowse and knowing the kind of player he is, I don't think there's any kind of real malicious intent there, but you can't go in studs up. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it really is that simple, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure someone will probably at me in the chat in a minute for that, but you never know what'll happen. Moving on to Leeds Watford, Mags. Leeds won Watford 0. Levante back in the team and got him and a bit scrappy, but got the job done.
Yeah, I mean, everybody enjoys watching Leeds. They've become one of the most fun teams to watch. Very exciting attacking wise, and also defensively poor. That you're always going to see goals against them. And Watford actually did have the ball in the net as well in this game, but a foul on Meslier ruled that goal out. And despite it only being 1-0 from Llorente's scrappy finish, I thought that Leeds were massively dominant. Had 67% of the ball, 20 shots to 5 on target, at goal, 4 on target to Watford's 1. We saw another almost worldy goal at the end when Tyler Roberts, in another kind of a little sequence of events where Foster was struggling to keep the ball out, and he ends up doing some massive acrobatics. The ball ends up coming out to Tyler Roberts on essentially on the edge of the 18-yard box, and he just volleys it over his head, kind of in the same vein of Ndombele when he scored that crazy looping goal last season. But it bounces off the bar, and then to kind of make things worse for Watford, they ended up getting an injury to Josh King, and then the Watford board did what the Watford board do, and they sacked the manager for the 5th time in 2 seasons.
It's amazing, Mags, isn't it? What have you got to do to keep your joy at Watford? You don't buy your house, you rent, clearly, when you did the Watford job.
It's crazy decision making. I can't understand the board here. I mean, Xisco
got promoted.
Yeah, he's been there less than 7 months. Got him promoted. He's already got 7 points on the board in the Premier League, in the world's hardest league to come up in. He's done this on essentially on a shoestring budget with players who are not Premier League level. Let's call a spade a spade. The players are certainly Championship level players, but to be mid-table and not in the relegation battle yet, and to be sacked, I would have had him down as somebody whose name was on the chopping block, but yet here we are, and he's absolutely devastated. He's reported that it's like waking up from a bad dream. He thought that he was doing really well. He didn't really kind of expect anything from the board, but yeah, it was let go, and we've I think today has been confirmed that Claudio Ranieri is going to be taking over.
Just an hour or two ago, yes, it's been officially been confirmed. The team commander back in the Premier League. It's the weird thing, you see. My fiance Chris, he's not the biggest football fan. I mean, he'll watch a game with me, obviously, but he's not the biggest football fan. But when I was starting to reel off what Xisco had done at Watford, he's like, "That's crazy to sack him like that."
Mm-hmm.
So if even a non-football fan can think that's crazy, what do they think they're doing? Seriously,
there's 7 other teams who would be happy to be on 7 points. I mean, Leicester, who were in and about the race for the title for long periods of last season, are on 7 points. Leeds are on 6 points. I mean, Southampton, who were mid-table for a lot of last season,
Southampton, who got a point.
4.
Yeah. They got a point out at Main Road. I'm not Main Road, you know what I mean? Yeah, at the empty head. I'm trying to make a joke, but it's call a spade, you say, Max. I mean, Watford are not yet in a relegation fight. To be fair, technically, nobody's in a relegation fight after 7 games.
Mm-hmm. And
So
and for a team to be promoted and be on 7 points after
after
7 games,
games,
I think
it's a point
that's
a game.
great going. Yeah,
It's a
that's
point a
great going.
game.
Mm-hmm.
I'd
I
be very
mean,
happy with that.
compare them to Brentford, who everybody's absolutely loving the fact that they're doing so well. Brentford are only on 9 points.
Do you think that because the positions, I know it's very close in the middle of the table. Actually, the entire table is still quite close.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think because of how well Brentford's done, Watford are saying, well, we should be doing better than them?
I think the board are just incredibly trigger happy in terms of sacking people. I mean, you don't sack 5 managers in 2 years, and even Ranieri, I think, has got to have one eye on where he's going after Watford, because if the results don't go right, they'll quickly get rid of him.
I imagine he'd probably put in his contract quite a large severance package, and if he'd got any sense, he would have done for sure. I wish Ranieri a lot better luck. Thing is, when we were looking at, we were saying the other week about Nuno being one of the favourites to be sacked at 7-2. I said at the time, Cisco was 25-1 to be sacked. He was not even in the conversation to be the third manager sacked this season.
I mean, really, he should have been, just because of the Watford board. But yeah, I mean, you look at those results, and I dare say a lot of Watford fans are ecstatic that they had 7 points and were essentially mid-table going into this match, and not many of them would have had a bad word to say about Isco, I don't think.
Well, I hope he lands on his feet and gets himself a club, because I think he deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely.
As to where he'll go, not sure. Maybe an opening coming up quite soon at Tottenham, even though they got a good result this weekend, of course, which we'll get to, of course. We'll move on to a team which definitely got the result they needed. Wolves 2, Newcastle 1, big win for Wolves.
Yeah,
big,
and
huge.
We talk about Xisco getting sacked when he didn't deserve it, and yet we've got a manager whose name has been on the chopping block since week 1 of the season, and yet seems to be keeping hold of his job by the skin of his teeth in Steve Bruce, a manager who hasn't moved on with the times of football, has apparently lost the dressing room, although I'm now hearing reports that that's not strictly true, and the reason why he's actually not getting fired is because he did the sensible thing of getting it written into his contract that if he was to be fired, Newcastle have to pay him every single penny of his contract, and I believe he's on a 2-year rolling contract, so that means he would be paid fully for this season and for next season as well if they were to let him go, which totals around $6 million all told.
Bruce. Can I get Steve Bruce's agent's number, please? I'd like him to negotiate my contract.
Well, I mean, at the time when he signed the deal, it's because he was the hot property. Newcastle really needed him in, and they were willing to essentially throw the world at him, and how those times have changed. But getting on to Wolves, yeah, they've struggled in front of goal this season, but I think they've got a new hero now in Hwang Hee-chan. 2 great goals, 2 well-taken goals, 2 great assists as well by Jimenez. I think him and Jimenez are going to be a formidable partnership. Jimenez actually hit the bar in this game as well.
Yes, I was very impressed with the partnership for sure. I literally, as I was watching the first goal go in, I was catching up on the highlight before we were catching up on Cherry finishing up. And I showed Chris the first goal, and I was like, "That's absolute filth." The first goal, he just like casually rolled it past Darlow. It was ridiculously good goal.
Yeah, it was real good, and the Jeff Hendrick goal as well was really well taken. A big stonking long ranger into the bottom corner, but this was a very end-to-end game. I think there was a shot from Trincao that hit the bar as well. And Alan Saint-Maximin again was Newcastle's one saving grace, and it's sad just how much better than the rest of the players he is. This is very much a one-man team, and unfortunately, Saint-Maximin can't do it all himself. He certainly does try. He's very kind of a Cantona-esque in that respect, but unfortunately, Cantona had great players around him. Saint-Maximin doesn't. I mean, even players who performed really well last season, like Almiron and Willock, are just not turning up, and it's sad to see. And I can see Alan Saint-Maximin looking away and seeing what else is out there, because he is way better than this team.
Being linked with Liverpool and Chelsea over the weekend, of course, and it's not a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, would I go that far? Do I think he's top 6 quality? I don't know. I think maybe being in the Newcastle side makes him look better than he is.
It's possible, Mags. Some players haven't made the step up when they've gone to big clubs. I mean, I'm reminded of players like Steve Sidwell, for example.
Wilfred Bonner. When he was superb at Swansea.
Yeah.
Struggle when he made the move to City. So, I mean, every team would love a player with the creativity of Saint-Maximin, but would he fit in the very structured style of Tuchel, or would he fit in with that front three of Liverpool? I don't know.
Well, of course, I'm just saying linked, not saying he'd go to either, but papers will link everyone, of course. You mentioned about Saint-Maximin literally trying to do it all to try and drag Newcastle along, and I give him full credit for that. When we see how bad the Barcelona team is doing, it really is going to show how much Messi was dragging them along when he was there.
Yeah.
So I'm not putting him in Messi's league. I'm just saying that if Saint-Maximin wasn't there, how bad would Newcastle be?
They would have no creativity. There'd be no creativity there whatsoever.
And I love Joe Willock. Absolutely love it. I love the fact that Tanner said at the end of last season, because I went back to listen to our 10-game watch-along, which was insane. How he mentioned that Joe Willock was actually Arsenal's top scorer, and he wasn't even playing for Arsenal.
Yeah, it's mental, and it seems like he's got the big move and then started resting back on his laurels. I wonder if he's bitterly regretting signing there permanently.
Well, I think last year he knew he had the safety net of going back to play for Arsenal, and now he's not there. Of course, he's at Newcastle. You got to get the job done. I mean, it's only as good as the players around you. They brought in Willock, but I don't know. It's just not working. And the fact is, Steve Bruce ain't going to get the job because they can't afford to pay that sort of money out. I'd be worried if I was a Newcastle fan right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're a huge club as well, with great history and some of the most passionate fans. But this club is a shell of the team. It's been running to the ground by, and there's one person to blame. It's Mark Ashley. It's as simple and clear as that. But this is not the Newcastle of the Kevin Keegan eras or the Peter Beardsley eras or even the Alan Shearer eras. This is Newcastle in name only.
Indeed, it's like a tribute band almost.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I'd go as far as saying a Sunderland tribute band, but that may be a little bit on the harsh side.
Tom Colliehue, sir, welcome and thank you for the raid. Ed, hello, how are you, sir? Just talking some Premier League football here, going over the weekend's results with the Volley. So hope you all enjoy.
Indeed. So thank you very much for coming along. We're going to continue with where we are right now. We're going to move along to to the evening game, and that was Brighton Hove Albion versus Arsenal. Now, Arsenal didn't get forward much in this game, did they, Max?
Yeah,
after the amazing performance in the NLD, as Tanner still insists on calling it, back down to earth a little bit now, Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, this is the almost the Jekyll and Hyde Arsenal that we were worried would show its ugly face again. Absolutely dominated in possession, 58% to 42. Shots again dominated. 21 shots for Brighton, 8 for Arsenal. Yeah, that's an astute observation there, Connor. Yeah, drinking out of my Sports Direct cup, but it cost me 50p. So, I mean, I'm not going to turn down a 50p supersized mug. But yeah, Newcastle, a lot of work going on there. For going back to this game though, but out of 21 shots, only two on target for Brighton, and I think that was the issue, that they threw everything at Arsenal, but just nothing was coming off for him. Lewis Dunk had a chance, and he blazed it over. He said that it was easier to score than it was to miss. And then right at the death, I think it was Mopar had a really good chance. But I think all in all, Brighton can feel aggrieved that they didn't finish some of the chances they had, and Arsenal can count themselves lucky that they've come away from Brighton with a point. But yeah,
they definitely need to be thanking their £30 million goalkeeper, Aaron Ramsdale, for saving that point, because right at the end, one-handed save to stop it. Oh, Mopai had a tap in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
without a question or shadow of a doubt, Aaron Ramsdale saved that point, man. That could be an important point at the end of the season.
Oh yeah, and this was, like I said, this was the team that was so dominant in the North London derby, and it's essentially the same team. I think the only change is I don't think there were any real changes in terms of lineup. I think they stuck with the same. I think Lokonga may have started, but aside from that, it was the same team and two totally different performances.
Connor in the chat definitely is absolutely right. Arsenal definitely got lucky, which is, I've got no love lost for Arsenal. I have no love lost for Brighton. So it would be nice to see some goals in this game. I thought it was just lacking a goal, really. We're heading into the Sunday games now, Mags, and there was plenty of goals on Sunday.
It was a super Sunday. Let's just say that.
It really was. Palace 2, Leicester 2. Leicester 2 up at half time through Iheanacho scoring on his birthday.
Yeah,
and
Iheanacho essentially robbing the ball and ripping through the Palace defence to score, and a well taken goal by Volley. Someone who's been off form slightly a little bit until he got that unique hat trick in the Burnley game, and he's now seems to be back on a purple patch. But another game where Leicester, who were solid last season, they struggled to end games, and the defence really let them down. Again, Connor in the chat is bang on the money, saying it was a bottle job, and I think saying that would be pretty unfair to Palace, because they did work hard. Palace certainly created a lot of chances of their own, essentially doubled the chances of Leicester.
Absolutely,
in terms of shots.
Schlupp, Vieira put Schlupp on, and the game changed completely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think they worked hard. 2 decent goals to claw Leicester back, and this is essentially points drop for Leicester, and they're now in the thick of it with the likes of Watford, and Watford have just let their manager go, and will Brendan Rodgers be looking over his shoulder and thinking, Jesus, if Xisco can be let go, then maybe I can. I mean, it's not likely. I mean, he's probably got his pick of jobs that he's been linked to. But yeah, this
Indeed.
was not. It was not a good result for Leicester. Certainly, points dropped.
Indeed, Palace had a really good second half. Leicester took the foot off the gas. This could be 2 points drop. We saw last year about how close the gap was at the top of the table. It cost Leicester the Champions League in the end, dropping points.
Mm-hmm.
So
and this result actually, if I remember rightly, it was. Means Patrick Vieira is the first manager of Crystal Palace to not be beaten in the first 4 Premier League games, home games, which is for somebody with such little managerial experience is certainly inspired confidence in the side.
You were saying, Mag, pre-season about how some of the really smart signings he had to make. He had like an excess of like 15, 16 players. He did a really good job rebuilding and getting the job done. Yes, they didn't get the results they wanted necessarily early in the season, but they have had a few tough games. But this is a big point they picked up on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean it's easy to underestimate the job that Vieira's done. Palace lost Roy Hodgson and 15 players who were out of contract, a massive wage bill that needed to be culled. I think he's made some very smart signings, spent his money very, very wisely, brought in a lot of young, hungry talent, and it seems to be paying dividends for him.
Absolutely. Colin in the chat saying he's enjoying how Palace are playing. Could see them doing well. We can see them doing quite well, to be fair. If they can keep gelling as they are, they're on to a winner for sure. Not say look, they're happy with mid-table this year, rebuilding the team. If they finish top half, they'd be delighted, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Talk about a team who would be happy with top half. Tottenham Hotspur 2, Aston Villa 1. Do you feel a little bit like this was a bit of a snatch and grab from Tottenham? They're still not at it, but it was a big win for Tottenham.
A big win for Tottenham, but another piss poor performance by Kane.
It was not good.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't want to be there. It's absolutely clear in his performance. It's clear on his face. It's clear with the engagement that he has with the rest of the players that he doesn't want to be there. But Tottenham needed this win after the North London derby, where they were just destroyed.
Annihilated.
Yeah, they were absolutely wrecked. They needed this win, and interesting place to get the opening goal from Hojbjerg, not someone who gets on the score sheet too often, but he was in the right place at the right time with a very calm low finish into the corner. Ollie Watkins was a danger for a lot of the game. I think he put the Spurs defence under a hell of a lot of pressure and was rewarded with a well taken goal of his own. And that's when you maybe saw the writing on the wall that Tottenham were going to do what Tottenham does and collapse. But Heung-min Son essentially pulled the team up by the bootstraps and was able to work a well-played goal. I think it's actually been given to Target as an own goal.
Yeah.
But he essentially was the talisman, and Kane was a man forlorn, not remotely interested. And there was even a point to kind of rubber stamp just how poor Kane is playing. He was through one-on-one with the goalkeeper in the last few minutes, and a Kane of old would have sealed that game. He would have put the game away. He couldn't even control the ball. He essentially kicked the ball into his own chest, which knocked it away from him and allowed Martinez to make the save. Yeah, Kane is, I think, sitting maybe thinking that they've dodged a bullet, not picking up Kane.
I think so. I mean, bear in mind that as Connor on Tax says here, even after Kane said he will stay, he said obviously he wants out, but he doesn't see where he goes. I actually have something to add to that. Ollie Watkins has been recalled to the England squad, and rightly so, based on his performance. He should have gone to Europe, in my personal opinion. And Harry Kane has really not been at it this season at all. and yet he'll captain the team. Should he be going to these England games in his break, Max?
Do you know, in an England shirt, I think Harry Kane is happy. I think he will be motivated. I think he'll do well. It's being at Tottenham that he doesn't like. He had this whole kind of career trajectory where he wanted to stay at Tottenham for as long as they could, but he wanted trophies. He wants accolades. He's now 28 years old and still not really won any major trophies.
Has he won a single trophy?
Possibly not. Have they not won a League Cup? I think they might have won a League Cup.
I forget about that. In the chat, remind me, because I can't read my phone from here. So if you let us know in the chat, if Kane has won a trophy.
But essentially, players when their careers are over are judged on what they did in their career. And right now, Kane's biggest accolade is finishing third in a 2-horse race, which is it's not something you can put on your mantelpiece.
It's not, no.
So he wanted the move. He was fully transparent with Tottenham's board and with Daniel Levy that he wanted this move, and I think he feels that he was. He's been stabbed in the back by Spurs. Whether that's the whole of the story, only him and Daniel Levy will know. We're getting tales from both camps that are totally contradictory. But he's a player who doesn't want to be at the club, and I think Tottenham do themselves a disservice by playing him, because he's not going to score in the attitude and the form that he's in. And you've got other players who could possibly play for the club and have passion for the club and
we saw that against Man City first game of the season. No Kane in the squad, and Tottenham were a different team.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The likes of Son and the likes of Lucas Moura all had passion, and when we watched the City game, they were the people tracking back, and Kane was the lonely figure up front who was not putting in the effort. So I think Tottenham can feel lucky for this result. Hopefully, Kane has a fresh kind of mindset and start scoring more goals. But he doesn't want to be there. It's as simple and clear as that.
Very true. Connor in the chat saying that he should go but not start in the show. You don't just get in because you're Kane. And then
I understand that.
Connor reminded us that Spurs' last trophy was 2008, so he has never won a professional trophy.
Okay, there we go.
Golden boots don't count that one, unfortunately. And sticking to pundits, Southgate has his favourites and Matthew trusts Kane, so he will start and play for England despite what's going on him with him and Spurs.
As a Burnley fan, I am fully aware of Gareth Southgate and his favouritism. I still am quite aggrieved over Tark. I think Tark should have been taken to the Euros. I think last season he was outstanding. I think Nick Pope should have started way more games for England than he has, and I think even Ben Mee should have been in that squad as well. But that may be the Claret's bias in me. But sick of the pundits also said earlier, cracking stuff, guys. Thank you very much. We absolutely appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in.
Absolutely. If you're not already, give us a like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell so you get notified when we go online. Speaking of Clarets, Mags, look at the other Clarets, shall we? Across in East London, let's go to West Ham 1, Brentford 2. Tekkers, the Doctor Team of the Year, of course, getting another victory under against a really good West Ham team.
It's almost getting boring to say, but this Brentford team have no fear. They are not afraid of history. They're not afraid of big name players. They are happy to attack and fire into clubs, and yeah, it's great to see. and Bueno and Tony have been absolutely outstanding. Wissa was superb. Pinnock was awesome. Baptiste played really well. This was a great game to watch. I was happy for Jared Bowen to get on the score sheet again. It's been a long time since that guy scored. But
10 months, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. 16 games since he scored. But the first goal, opener by Bueno, really well taken, and then that scramble at the end with Wissa getting the power shot with what was it, 90 plus 4 minutes. Great result for Brentford. A little bit unfair for West Ham. I thought Fabianski could feel aggrieved. I thought he had a really good game. He especially thwarted Ivan Toney on a number of occasions. But this was a good performance by Brentford, and it's fun seeing them go on. I think they're now up to 7th back in the European spots.
They are, yeah.
Brentford, the bees in Europe. That's a real kind of but it's just kind of it shows that Moneyball has the potential to work. I mean, we spoke at length about how they essentially closed down their youth academy, and when using statistics and analysis to get players in cheap and sell them on and turn over a profit, and it seems to be working.
Absolutely working.
They're doing really well.
Exactly. Connor in the chat saying Brentford said resetting up this year. Don't look forward to United playing them. To be fair, I said the same thing about Liverpool last weekend. I said I've got a bad feeling about this game this afternoon. I've got a really bad feeling about it.
They're not frightened of anyone, whether it's West Ham, whether it's Arsenal, whether it's Liverpool. They have no fear.
They will welcome playing Man United. They will welcome it for sure. We've got a few things to catch up on here quickly. A particular pundit saying, agree Nick Pope should be started keeper for England. I think a lot of people actually agree with that one, man. Nick Pope is a fantastic goalkeeper and not a bad penalty stopper.
It's because Burnley are they're not a fashionable club. They're never going to be a big six club, and I think that's really kind of it keeps a lot of Burnley players out of Southgate's mind, because nobody wants to come up to Turf Moor to watch, as Connor has called it, Burnley's shithousery, because that's the style we play. We are we're called anti-football for a reason, but it has done as well in terms of success.
So that's why they called it the Anti-Football Podcast. I actually didn't know that's why. Fair enough. And Simon in the chat, Mag's partner on Team Wrestling. Hopefully, some of you who are in the chat right now were in the chat for that earlier. Fantastic! If you're doing both streams, you are an absolute star.
You absolutely are. And this is a really cool question from Sick of the Pundits. He said, from the limited Premier League appearances that we've seen of Ivan Toney, do you think he can play at a higher level club? He seems to have all the modern attributes needed in the modern game. And from seeing him in the Championship, where he was a killer, he was absolutely dominant. And I think Matt's just ditched me for a while. I think he's definitely adapted his game to the Premier League. Do it again. in the Championship, he didn't need to really stray much out of the 18-yard box, the final third, and be the poacher. But I think he's added a creativity to his game in the Premier League, knowing he's probably not going to get the amount of goals that he got in the championship. He's added that kind of assist quality to his game. So I think he's certainly got he's rounded off his game. He's certainly got those attributes to be a club far better than Brentford. And I think Brentford would be happy to see that, because that's their whole kind of ethos, that they will take players and mold them to be ready for the big time and make huge profits on him. So I can certainly see him being.
What did they sign him for, Mags? Do you remember?
I think it's I don't think it's a lot. Let me quickly try and Google.
Fair enough. I'm sure maybe one of our viewers in the chat might actually be already furiously Googling it because we've been trying to talk about the Moneyball system at Brentford, of course. Either way, personally, I feel that he could play at a higher level club.
So they
one could
signed
argue,
him. I thought it wasn't much. They signed him for less than $5 million from Peterborough.
So if they were to even sell him for like 20, that'd be a hell of a good profit for him for sure.
He's a £40 million striker as he is now.
Absolutely. Personally, I feel that I certainly feel, if you're seventh in the league, then you are a high level club personally. And let's face it, anyone who says, "Oh, this is what the top six is," rip that up and throw it away. Because this season, we thought last season was mad without the fans in. Fans are back in this year. This is probably even more mental than last year's season.
Yeah, I mean, two of the historically biggest clubs in Arsenal and Tottenham, you wouldn't call a top six club now. In terms of revenue, absolutely, but in terms of what's happening on the pitch, I think Leicester are more of a top six club than Tottenham or Arsenal are right now.
And they're, quote, struggling at the moment.
Well, that is very, very true. I think they're in 13th right now. So that's ironic that I've called them a top six club when they're.
But the thing is, after 7 games, after 7 games, you can't say a team is anything.
Well, 7 games into last season, Tottenham were flying out, were pretty much unbeaten, and then ended up falling like a stone. So
I believe after 7 games last year, Man City were like 10th in the league. So
yeah, exactly.
So yeah. Speaking of which, perfect time to go into the final game of the weekend, which of course we covered here with Radio Tekkers. It's Liverpool to Man City 2. I could back Liverpool about the second Liverpool goal all night long, and people have been doing that at length on all networks. So I will say that was possibly the best goal I've seen all weekend.
It was certainly up there. This game was like watching 2 different games. It was.
The first half was.
Yeah, it was nervy. It felt the first half. We had Liverpool dominating in the first 10 minutes or so, but not really creating many clear-cut chances. Then City had a period where Phil Foden and James Milner were at each other's throats, and Phil Foden was getting the best of him at points. But again, Foden wasn't able to really do much. Jesus had one of his better games in recent memory for City. He was bright, he was lively, he was getting position. He's still struggled in terms of being clinical. And then we got to the second half, and it was like watching 2 totally different teams. And I don't think there was even any substitution. So we had the same players, but the kind of mindsets and the approach to the game was totally different. Mane and Salah just have that sixth sense to create the opener. So well played. Then Foden kind of woke up as he tormented James Milner again to set up for Jesus. Then we got the worldie from Mo Salah, where he just essentially took the City defenders and broke all their ankles, had them all sat down, and then a cheeky little dink over Ederson for one of the best solo goals I've seen in a long time. Really talented player, and that's one thing he's added to his game. I think that close ball control. That Salah, he's not very much a pace guy. He normally kicks the ball in front and chases it, but he certainly added that very close ball control. And we thought, this is it. This is Liverpool have pulled it out. and they've beat City at their own game. But then up steps Kevin De Bruyne with a great finish. What was it? 5 minutes afterwards. So it was very end to end. Not much time in terms of Liverpool taking the lead and then City equalising. But what a game to watch! So much fun. Cool for the neutrals. Bad for you as a Liverpool fan. But I think a point against Man City is still a good point.
It is a good point, but having been in front twice, I feel a little bit annoyed we didn't close the game out from a Liverpool point of view. Conor Jackson, the fact that 2 different games, it proves how elite Pep and Klopp are at being able to completely change the whole team mindset. I was also saying at the start of the game how much I was hoping that everyone would go all out on this game, because we saw in the Chelsea Man City game last weekend how it's a case of we're going to try to not lose. I hate that. You've got this amazing, massive attacking talent, and you're going to try and not lose. And so I'm very happy that I think I used the phrase "put the vinegar on the chips," as it were. I loved that. I think I might use that more often, because the second half they certainly put the curry sauce on as well, for lack of a better term, because it literally lit up second half. And I said it was a great advert for the Premier League.
Yeah, and Connor in the chat has said, and we can't forget to mention Rodri's amazing block. Yeah, was a stunner. Essentially, Fabinho could have won the game if it wasn't for Rodri. And I think one thing that we also do need to mention is how violent the game got in that second half. Especially from
in the chat was commentating basically on the wrestling that was going on left, right, and centre.
I mean,
it was like she was doing it in an attitude.
How many times did Bernardo Silva get upended? How many times did we see Phil Foden crying to the referee because
I counted it was 7 times,
and he actually cried when he scored as well. He was a very emotional lad. Was Phil Foden?
That's a very generous way of saying it, Max.
He shared the man of the match according to Sky Sports. I don't think he had as good. I thought Milner had as good a game as him. Whilst Foden was running Milner ragged, I thought that Milner was able to keep up with him a lot and really kind of put him in his place with some of those hard tackles. But yeah, this is another interesting question from Sick of the Pundits. Will potential injuries be Liverpool's undoing in the chase for the league this season? We all know about City's squad depth. I think injury-wise, I think last season was a massive anomaly. I can't remember a period of football where so many players from one team in a set position were all injured at once, and I think Liverpool. It would be harsh if that kind of thing happens again. I think Klopp certainly will have taken that into account. We've seen Fabinho fill that role. He's Neco Williams was on the bench as well, so I think he certainly had cover. I certainly think that Liverpool missed Trent. They certainly missed that attacking flair that Trent provides.
Indeed.
But I think they've got enough cover now that if they do start picking up 1 or 2 injuries, that they can bring in players that will fit in. In terms of City, they have got strength in depth, apart from in one position, and that's the forward line. And I can't understand why Ferran Torres hasn't been getting more game time.
We mentioned this, didn't we, during the game? I mean, I think it was it Conor McCabe who actually mentioned he would have played Ferran Torres. And I personally agree. I mean, you got Gabriel Jesus, who's meant to be an out-and-out striker, playing on the right wing.
And as an out-and-out striker, he fumbles in front of goal a lot. I mean, even his goal was pretty much a fumble. I don't think he's the Aguero replacement that Pep is hoping that he would be. And I think he would have done well to maybe be part of a swap deal with Kane over at Tottenham, because there seems to be a lot of pressure on Jesus being that forward line. One thing what really kind of baffles me is how quickly Sterling has fallen out of grace from. Whilst he didn't have an amazing season last year, he was still got within the goals and he was still quite prolific. But after such stellar performances at the Euros, you'd think he would be one of the first names on the team sheet, and he hasn't been. And in his kind of in his favour, he was the turning point for City in this game. Once he came on the pitch, a lot of the creativity was from Sterling. So I'm quite surprised.
Which was surprising.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised that Sterling hasn't been featuring a lot more this season, especially with the fact that they didn't get a striker. But in terms of every other position, they have got a world-class B team essentially that can fit in pretty much every position. So I think City is certainly.
I think they maybe is slightly weaker at left back. To be fair, Zinchenko is not in Cancelo's league.
No, I mean, but he still would fit into 14 of the rest of the Premier League teams.
I don't think he's actually. My personal opinion, I don't think Zinchenko is Premier League quality.
Wow, I don't agree with that. I think whilst I don't think he's a world beater, I certainly think he's certainly Premier League quality.
I don't like him as I like him as Anna said many times. I like him fine as a person, but I like him as a player.
And Connor in the chat saying, I'm not going to comment on Foden, or else I may not be allowed back on the internet. It's a safe space here, Connor. You are allowed to slate Phil Foden as much as you want. I mean, if you want to, you can go back and check out the watch along replay. We give it to Phil Foden on both barrels. In fact, there's a whole period where we're essentially ribbing him for being an Eminem wannabe, and he should have his shirt covered in his mom's spaghetti.
We did it for the entirety of the Euro, saying, "Will we all Phil Foden, please stand up?" For sure, Mags. So we've gone through all of the fixtures this weekend. Who'd you play at the weekend?
For me, even though I didn't give him the man of the match on the day, I give it to James Milner. I think Mo Salah had a great game. That finish was sublime. That just shows the quality of that player. I also want to give a mention to Andros Townsend just for the sheer shithousery of that boom celebration. But do you know what? I'm actually going to give it to Timo Werner. Just because he needed a goal. He's been struggling in front of goal, and now that he's part of that front two with Lukaku, but in this game he was back on his own. So I think he was desperate for a goal. And the smile on his face when he first scored the first one, which got ruled off, and then was able to actually get one at the death. I'm going to give it to Timo Werner.
That's absolutely fine, buddy. I personally am going. I'm personally going to go for a slightly outside pick here. My player weekend is Heung-min Son, because he single-handedly dragged Tottenham across the line, and it wasn't the man who was going to get 150 million. It was the man who literally put Tottenham on his back and has been carrying that team all season long, and it was that's young South Korean. For sure. Some more comments in the chat coming our way, Mags. To be fair, Phil Foden deserves it, says Connor. And then he said it has to be CR7 for player of the weekend.
I mean, that's a stretch.
He says he
was lively. I really loved Ronaldo as a neutral. I think Ronaldo raises the level of any league that he's playing in, and he's been outstanding for Man United.
He
I don't
has.
think this was his best game. I think Cavani probably played better than him, and Martial certainly had a better game than Ronaldo. But anytime Ronaldo's in the team, you always have that inkling that he could do some magic. And I'm glad to see him back, but I don't think that this was his best game.
He's had worse games. But I remember him once getting sent off for jumping in the air and literally doing a netball spike against West Ham way back in the noughties. Connor saying, "I wonder who I support." I think I gathered about 5 messages ago that you are a Man United fan, a young man. We'll be very happy having the chat at any point for any of our watch-alongs and any of our shows. All of you have been brilliant so far tonight. Sick of the pundits saying top stuff, guys. Nice to hear you've used an insight. It's been lovely having you guys along for the ride.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's made it even more fun.
Slide in our DMs as well on Twitter. We'd love to do some cross promotion shows.
Absolutely, we're always happy having other people involved with what we do. So yeah, Mags, that's another episode of the Volley pretty much wrapped up then. We should probably give everyone our socials and so obviously down in the description below us, you've got the information for all of the Tekkers team, so you can follow all of them individually. You can follow Mags directly
at Podfather Mags, because I'm on way too many podcasts for any one human being. I cover UFC, I cover football, and also I dabble in a little bit of Attitude Era wrestling. So definitely come and check out my content.
It's all top quality content from Mags all the time, for sure. You can find me at Matchday UK. You can obviously find the main show at Radio Tekkers, and obviously you can get in touch with us all directly through that. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to us here on YouTube if you're watching us on YouTube. And if you're on Twitch, we've had a few people on Twitch tonight. Why don't you give a cheeky follow on Twitch as well? And of course, don't forget to ring the bell. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me and Mags here on the Volley. We'll be back for the next Premier League match day in 2 weeks' time. Volley. On behalf of us all here at Radio Tekkers, thank you very much for watching along with us, and good night to you all. We're out of here.